After waiting for about a week, I finally picked the iPhone 17 Pro, and for the first time ever, I went with a color that's not black. Why, you may ask? You'll find out in just a bit. Let's see what's inside this box. Ripping it open, as always, the packaging is classic Apple, that familiar mix of minimal and premium. Lifting the lid open, boy oh boy, that orange is just breathtaking. Now, a lot of people have been asking why I went with orange, and honestly, I think I can answer that without even saying a word. Getting the phone out of the box, the two-tone unibody design is instantly noticeable, although I can't help but notice how the color on the ceramic glass panel changes depending on how you look at it. Getting deeper into the box, you get the braided USB-C cable, a SIM ejector pin, and that's about it. Long gone are the days when Apple gave us stickers. Getting back to the phone, I don't know if it's just me, but the satisfaction of peeling the paper off the screen never gets old. Alright, that's the unboxing. Let's wrap up the rest of the setup and, most importantly, the first impression inside the office. Alright, I just finished setting it up, and placing it next to my 16 Pro, I can clearly see the difference. More so that camera bump, or as Apple calls it, the plateau. The antenna layout has also done a bit of a shuffle. Why, you may ask? Well, remember the plateau I mentioned not too long ago? It forced the MagSafe ring to move a little bit lower. Getting back to the two-tone unibody design I talked about a little earlier, it might look a little aesthetic, like Apple just wanted to give it a little tuxedo moment, but nope, this whole look exists because Apple ditched titanium. In case you didn't know, aluminium is more thermally conducive, which means it lets heat escape faster. In short, Apple made it prettier and less sweaty. As for the display, it greets you with a jaw-dropping 3000 nits of peak brightness. And I'll be honest, putting it side by side with the 16 Pro and the lights fully cranked up, the difference is there, but the average consumer for the most part won't even notice it. But they'll for sure notice the anti-reflective coating. It's the kind of thing you don't appreciate, especially content creators, until you start shooting B-roll and the annoying reflections just keep ruining all your shots. For the average consumer though, it won't be that big of a deal. When it comes to durability, that's where Apple loves to flex. This time round, they've given us the second generation of the ceramic shield, and they claim it has up to 3 times better scratch resistance. Sounds good, but I'll be honest, I won't be testing that. Why? Because my wallet said, don't you dare. Good thing the folks at Apple Truck already did the dirty work, and surprisingly, the 17 Pro turned out to be more durable than the 16 Pro. Which is ironic considering titanium is supposed to be the tougher guy in the room. Either way, that's why I'd recommend slapping on a screen protector, a case, and for the extra paranoid like myself, a lens protector. And I learned that the hard way after smashing one of the lenses of my iPhone 13 Pro. When it comes to the refresh rate of the display, you can't really tell it apart from that of the 16 Pro. As for the features, they're the same old we've had on Pro iPhones. You know, 120Hz Pro Motion, Super Retina XDR, always on display, blah 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 blah. I'll assume you know the rest. What I won't assume you know though is the leap in performance. And that's exactly why I decided to put it head to head with the 16 Pro in CPU and GPU benchmarks. And the results? Let's just say the 17 Pro walked away with the medal. Now, to be fair, we're not talking day and night differences, especially for the CPU. If anything, the average person firing off texts, taking photos, or doom scrolling Instagram at 2 AM in the morning most likely won't even notice the difference. But trust me, the difference is there. For example, when launching games, the 16 Pro lags just a tad bit behind, and that comes down just to two things. First, the shiny new A19 Pro chip, which is both faster and more efficient. Second, the 17 Pro now has a vapor chamber. That means when you're pushing your phone with power-hungry tasks, it's dissipating heat a lot faster and not turning your phone into a hand warmer. That said, I've only scratched the surface here, so make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss out when the full review comes out. When it comes to the software, iOS 26 has copped some slack, especially liquid glass. Now, personally, I like iOS 26 and I've been using it since the developer beta dropped a couple months back, but again, to each their own. Moving on to the battery, this is where the 17 Pro quietly flexes. This time round, Apple didn't just nudge the numbers, they gave it a proper boost. We're talking 4,252 mAh compared to the 3,582 mAh of the 16 Pro. That's nearly a 20% jump, and yes, you'll definitely feel it. Now, here's the little twist most people don't realize. The size of the battery will depend on where you live. For us here in Australia, we'll be rocking the smaller variant because of the physical SIM. But if you're in the United States or Canada, you'll be rocking the one with an eSIM, and that's the one that has a bigger battery capacity. Now, on paper, the numbers look even more impressive. 33 hours of video playback compared to 27 of the previous gen. That's Apple claiming more than an entire day of battery life. Sounds great, but let's be honest, real life isn't lived on paper. And whether that actually holds up is something I'm not entirely sold on just yet. That's why I'll be actually testing it in my day in the life video, so make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss out. When it comes to the cameras, the 17 Pro is finally walking the talk. The dynamic island has been roasted for years, but what Apple tucked behind it this time, that might just buy it some redemption. They ditched the old 12 megapixel rectangular sensor and switched to an 18 megapixel square sensor. Why does that matter? Because now you can shoot in either portrait or landscape without you rotating the phone. Honestly, it feels super intuitive testing it out, but I'll admit, for video, it's going to take me a minute. Shooting video horizontally just feels natural, and this, well, it feels like the camera control button all over again. Great on paper, but will people actually use it? That's the big question. And let's be honest, recording with two black bars on either side of the screen just feels kind of awkward. Plus, the screen size is not exactly what you want, especially when you want to make sure everything is in focus. I don't know, that's just my take, I might be wrong. For photos though, it's a completely different story. The new center stage camera can dynamically shrink or widen your frame depending on the number of faces it sees. Translation, when your friends suddenly want to pile into your selfie, the frames could spark a little, making room for everyone. Now flip over to the rear camera, and this is where things finally feel long overdue. All the lenses are now 48 megapixel. That telephoto camera that lagged behind with 12 megapixels finally made the jump. Well, there you have it guys. If you're considering the upgrade, the iPhone 17 Pro comes with some good improvements. A bigger battery, better cameras, the ceramic shield, the list goes on and on. But here's the bottom line. If your current phone does everything you need, there's no rush to upgrade. If you really need to upgrade, anything below the iPhone 15 Pro would be worth the upgrade. I hope you enjoyed and found this video helpful. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and click the notification bell to get notified whenever I post a new video. If you're considering the 15 or 16 Pro, these videos will be helpful. Until then, people of the internet, I'm signing out. See you over here.